Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Basically this week I've got a few jobs I want to try and complete. I want to try and insulate the back door, or the side door, sorry. The cupboards that I've got to the right hand side of me, I want to have a 240 plug socket fitted and my inverter switch. So I want to try and finish that section off, run the wires for that ready, and that'll be kind of like part one done of the inverter, because then I can just do the rest of it in the boot. And just a couple of odds and sods. I need to finish off doing something with the wires on top of the roof. So let's see where we go. Right, my plan, because I want the plug sockets to be sunk back here, so then I still get ample room to use on this worktop. I thought, put two battens here, mark out from front to back exactly where I want it, and then stick them on. But I absolutely cocked up, and this side was well out. So what I've done, just stuck a little piece on there, bringing it back out level again. And then also I really struggled, because to get this board in there, it's a nightmare. It's a physical nightmare, right? So you can imagine if I cut it to the size it needs to be, I've got no chance of getting in there. So what I've come up with, if you watch the struggle, is I've cut it a little bit. Let me see if I can get it in there one-handed. I've cut the wood a little short, and if you let me, this is a nightmare one-handed, but if you manipulate it enough, you'll get it in there. Right, so then obviously I'm really short down the end. So then what I thought I'd do is add some packers in there, and then create a piece that will then go in there like that. Right, then what that means is that looks a lot neater. Once, by the time I've finished it and masticed it all up, that'll look a lot neater now. So all I need to do now is just get the plug sockets I need, which is these ones. I've gone for these. They've got USB and USB-C on them, so they'll be quite handy. And if I could just put, I want that kind of centralized, but I need to realize that if you want to charge up a MacBook or anything like that, it's got a massive adapter on the end, so it needs to be high enough to cope with that. And then next to that will also be my little inverter switch. So that's the plan. So now I just need to cut the holes out for that, and then run some wire down there ready for stage one of putting the inverter in. They look a lot more central now, so hopefully that's that bit done. Plug socket, inverter switch. Right, I didn't bother filming any of this last night because it took me ages to try and figure out how I was going to get this cable into the back, because basically where my electric board finishes, it's about there, so I'm having to manage to tuck it round and round the corner, and that's it's a bit of a nightmare. But I've got the one cable in there so far, and then so that's that coming out of here. That's all in now, cut. And I just got to fit the other cable, which I'll be able to follow the same line for this, and then that should mean I can then pretty much finish this area off, because the rest of the works will be happening in the garage area. So that's that done, and there we go, finished off. Well, I've literally just screwed it in there just to secure it, and for now these are wired up. The wires are now running down into the garage area ready for the inverter. I'm not going to bother painting or finishing that area off until I know I'm done with it. So that's that job for done. All I've got to do is insulate the side door and jump on the roof and try and tape up these temporary tape up these wires. Right, so I made a mistake. This pump and the light switch up here, they're running off this wire here, which is 2-core 0.75. Now, for the majority of the time, I think it's fine running my lights and stuff. But if I put my pump on, I'm getting pulsing through the lights. So what I'm gonna do is just up the cable size a little bit and see if that eliminates the problem. So I need to change this cable, which runs up to the light switch, and then this cable which runs down here. So I'm just gonna pull 2 cables through. One's already cut to size, one's still attached. And then hopefully I can then trim this piece up and cut a new one for there and see if that eliminates the problem. Right, massive error. So the cable that I attached to these, let's start again. These weren't fitting down this with the previous 2 wires in there. So my idea was to completely remove one wire. So I pulled that out. And the last remaining wire, I was going to attach these 2 and pull them through. And now that wire has now pulled off and snagged in the boot and come out. And these are now jammed. So I've got no cables going to this and no cables going to that. And I can't get these out. Now, luckily, the actual blockage was just behind that pipe. So I cut it down and then I could literally grab it with some pliers and pull it through. So I've got both these cables through now after stripping half the van out, but that bit's done now. So what I've got to do is run back inside and see if, just temporary wire these up, see if it works. Right, so I've upped that cable from a 0.75 to a 1.5. Wired that back in. And the pulsing seems to have stopped. So hopefully, I don't know if it's working. Hopefully, now that's got more voltage going through the wire, it shouldn't pulse anymore. So I've just got to tidy this area up and then I'm back to square. Well, then I can actually start on the inverter. All right, today, trying to get this above these batteries. As I said yesterday, I spent pretty much all day just trying to retrace these wires back into this board just to up the voltage on that cable. And then today's mission is to finally get this working. So let's see what we can do. Right, I tried to create this little table, roughly. I'll show you what I mean. It's roughly like this. I took a leg off, but that was going to sit above the batteries. So then that was the attempt, but I'm not going to have enough space to screw stuff down. It's just going to be a faff. There's no space in here at all. So for temporary measure, I'm just going to opt to just screw things down here for a little bit just to get them working, because this all needs to be changed anyway. So until that point, it can just stay there. So just to run it through quickly, how I've done it. Obviously, I've used a red cable, but this is my earth wire. I just haven't bothered chopping this anymore. So I'm just going to stick that for that for now. Obviously, you've got my negative. I've got my positive, which runs through a 150 amp fuse, sorry. And obviously that will go to the bus bar. These will go to the bus bar. Then you've got, this is obviously for the socket. So this is, my socket will be on the other end. You've got power coming in to the socket, and then obviously whatever. That's, I'm hoping, as simple as it should be. So I'm gonna now hopefully wire all this in and see if it's working. Right, now that's all wired up. Excuse the mess. The only thing I've screwed down to here is this. This is still loose, but it'll do for now. It's just, I'm not really going anywhere at the time being until I can actually create some sort of cupboard for this. Have all the wires tucked behind it and all the appliances just in front of it, or whatever you want to call them, then that will do for now. But that is in, so all wired up, seems to be running. All I've got to do now is just test out inside. But while I'm here, because I never showed anyone before, I built this the other week there, just to protect the diesel heater and all the batteries and that for now, and also this little shelf up here. I just put all my safety stuff up here, like jump starter for the battery, snow chains. I've got random bits that'll go up there, and then this is a new addition as well. So I've put this up. So at the moment, the way I'm running it is I've wired in a plug socket here to give me power, and then 35 litres of water. It runs from gas, and then you just connect it all up, chuck your hose in the end here, fire it up, and you've got your shelf and outdoor shower. So that's the other little upgrade as well. But I just want to check this works inside. Right, so technically I should be able to come in here and plug that in. A little flicker. Laptop should go in, and we have power. So that's working. So the only error I've done is this switch is no good. Now I think this works for if you have just a typical inverter, this will work. It's got an on off, but because I've got an inverter charger, on the back of mine it has on off plus charge, so it's like you need a 3-way pin switch. So as I'm looking on Victron's website, this one's not for me. I need the one that's more like a screen, so I'm gonna have to look at getting that at some point. But that is charging, so that's perfect. We've got 240 power in here now. So what an absolute mental weekend trying to get that wire in there and just basically put that inverter in. It's not even done nicely. It's taken me 2 days solid just to get it in. So that's all I'm gonna have time for. Thanks for watching. See you next time.